I'm from Appleton, Wisconsin. I was born in College Park, Maryland, and from there I moved to Wisconsin, then to Nebraska, and then back to Wisconsin. And then I grew up with my mom most of my life. My dad wasn't around too much, but I still got to spend time with him. My mom was a college basketball coach at the University of Nebraska Kearney in Kearney. She coached there for a couple of years until she moved on to get her master's degree and became a surgical technician. And from there, she became one of the associate people at what's it called? Swedish Medical Center in Denver, Colorado, where she works now. So growing up was always fun because I was always around basketball. She's a high school coach at Wapaka High School. So I grew up around basketball my whole life. But I never really started to get into the game until around 7th or 8th grade when I first started really start to play travel ball, AAU ball, and stuff like that. Until then, I played on a local team in Nebraska called the Kearney Kings, where we play in 3 or 4 tournaments a year. And then I'd play for my local middle school team where we played the other local Catholic schools around us in December. But other than that, I was a hockey player. I grew up playing hockey with my cousins. I started skating probably when I was 2 or 3. And I played hockey with my cousins for the Tri-City Storm in Nebraska. And then from there, I wanted to start to play hockey more competitively and more. So I moved to Wisconsin, where it just didn't turn out. And then from hockey, I made the transition into basketball, where I really started to love and play the game. I really liked the basketball part because my mom had played it and I was tall and I was good at it. That's what made it really fun for me, was that I could dominate and be really good and successful over kids. And then from there, it started to be something that I could just do for fun, go outside and shoot hoops and be a way for me to exercise that was really fun and play. And all my friends liked to play it. So I just started to get into it. And the more I started to play and get into it, the more I started to really love spending time playing it and being around people who played it. And then from there, it just started to get better. And I had a natural eye for the game and a different style of play than everyone else. My feel for it is so much different than other people. And that's kind of what made it fun, is because I could do things that other kids couldn't because I just wanted to, or had the ability to. I learned a lot from her. She was the one who taught me how to shoot, how to dribble, but most importantly was she was a post player and I'm a post player. So she learned everything on her own. Her back to the basket game, she watched Hakeem Olajuwon and other people as much as she could to learn her moves, and then she added little twists to them. So when I was in middle school and I was playing for my little middle school team, she taught me how to shoot hook shots, the up and under, step through, as much as she could. And then from there, I started to get creative with it, where it was step through and then up fake and then go back, or whatever it was. She taught me and I just modified it. So a lot of the stuff I learned was from her. The only thing she didn't teach me was how to shoot a 3. She shot 2 in her whole career playing. So I had to learn that on my own. She did teach me how to shoot, but it was mostly mid-range and free throws. But other than that, growing up around her is there's constant people who were around who played the game and were really supportive, and it was really cool to go to her games and watch them play, because I knew them, and a couple of them would help babysit me, or I'd go to their house, and it was really cool and being around that. And so I built a lot of I built a lot of relationships with those people, and it was really fun. Other than that, it was just I'd get to wake up and then I'd have a babysitter and I'd go see my mom after she was done at school and practice, and I'd have a ball and I'd dribble it around or do whatever I wanted and hang out and always be around the basketball setting. It was fun. For those who haven't seen me play, I'd say probably my greatest strength is my ability to be a post player who can handle the ball, shoot the ball, and pass the ball at a really high level. my natural size gives me an advantage in the post, but when a taller defender outmatches me, I have the ability to make plays on the perimeter, whether it be a three, a dribble drive kick, or something along those lines. So whoever's guarding me, I have some way to score or do something to like be productive. And then another thing I'd say is that this year as a role player, I learned how to play like a hustle player, to take charges, grab offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds, set good screens, be able to play off the ball really well, to get myself open when I don't have the ball in my hands. Because when you have seniors and juniors ahead of you who are really highly ranked and really, really good, it's hard to have the ball in your hands all the time as a big sophomore. So I learned how to play off the ball, setting off ball screens, on ball screens, back screens, flare screens to get myself open looks. And then probably the one thing I've learned the most this year is offensive rebounds, because we're a really good shooting team. But when you shoot really well, you shoot a volume of shots. So learning how to rebound those big shots and get putbacks is the reason why I got some of those points in like games this year, is because I was able to get really easy stickbacks from missed shots. Probably say the one thing I'm working on the most is my lateral quickness and my speed, because that's the one thing I really need to focus on to be really proficient at the next level. And that's why I came here, is so that I could be that peak performance with my body and how fast and quick I got. And I'd say probably the person who's helped me the most here was Coach UJ. He was one of the big reasons my mom and I decided to come here, was because of him. And I'm actually super proud that he just accepted a job at Alabama football, so he won't be here anymore. But he was the big reason why I'm quicker, faster, like more explosive now. And that's the big thing I'm working on, is so that I can not only be able to guard a 5, but I can guard up to a 3 or a 2, so that I can be that guy who can be interchanged like anywhere on the court. Modern day, it was kind of a rushed decision. I was at Xavier High School in Appleton, and I went to the Pangos All Frosh All Soft Camp in Chicago, where I was noticed by some people who wanted me to go out and play on the West Coast, and they gave me those connections. And I went out and I visited a couple of schools, and I thought modern day would be nice. And it was in the transition of my mom moving to Colorado, so I was already not going to be playing in Wisconsin. And as you know, Colorado basketball isn't really that great of a spot to be playing in. And the league I would have been playing in would have not been that great. So we kind of made the like hasty jump to just go to modern day and see if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't work out, we'll go find something else. And it was really good for me. I think all the people who helped me there, because they gave me like the first opportunity into like really big basketball like scenario, where it was like playing against Devin Askew, who's at Kentucky right now starting, playing against Wilhelm, who's going to Nebraska, Nick, who's going to Nevada, Harry, who's going to USC. They were all like super good. And like as a freshman, stepping in and playing against them was like really hard to do. I learned a lot from it. I didn't play that much, but probably the thing I gained the most was like the practice experience and like the ability to like start to play like at that high school speed. And that set me up to play AU in Wisconsin again, where I put up great numbers, played really well, caught the eye of a lot of coaches. And then from there on, I knew that their 3 bigs would be returning, Nick, Harry, and Will. And that would mean I'd probably be the 4th big man, and I'd come off the bench and probably wouldn't get a ton of minutes with 3 seniors ahead of me. And we made the decision to go to the Asheville school in Asheville, North Carolina. And we quickly got the opportunity a couple months later from IMG. And when a school like IMG recruits you, there's like really like no chance to say no. It's probably the best high school in America in terms of facilities, the school, the cafeteria, the dorms, and like it's unbeatable. And then on top of that, you have Coach Mack, Coach Trey, and Coach JT, who have all coached McDonald's All-Americans, and like most recently a pro in Josh Green, Jeremiah Robinson Earl, Armando Baycott. The list just goes on and on about who they've coached and who's come through here. So it's like you'd almost be a fool to say no to that. Well, we have like the number 8th player in the country right now, Musa Diabate, who, in my opinion, is still underrated very much. He's going to Michigan, and that is probably the hardest player I've ever had to play against. It's a 6'10", 6'11", guard who can like kill you in the post. He's the strongest player on the team, and I think he's probably one of the faster kids on the team. So being able to have to guard him in the post and have him push me around, like I had to immediately get better at post defense and learn how to take charges because I can't block his shot. He's got a 7'4" wingspan and he's 6'10". I had to be able to like beat him to the spot so that the double team could come. I had to learn how to push him baseline and like contain him off the dribble. So that was probably one of the hardest things to do. And then Jarris Walker, who's top 10 player in the 2022 class, came back from his injury, and then I had to start guarding him. And like he's a jack of all trades. He's probably one of our best jump shooters, and then he can just like get to the rim and finish as hard as he wants. So guarding him was a nightmare. And then Eric Daly Jr., who I guard, he's probably another kind of Jarris. He's a lefty too, so it's just like you never know what he's doing, and probably master the post fade. Never can block that. So I had 3 top 10 players in their class that I have to guard every day, and it was really hard. But I think I started to do a pretty good job on them. I earned their respect a little bit, so it's like earning respect from players who are older than me, and being younger is a good thing. It means I'm on the right track. And then by the time I'm a junior or senior, there's going to be another sophomore or freshman that I get to do this to, and that'll be talking about me. I have some pretty big offers as a sophomore, considering that coaches can't talk to me, that I'm super grateful for. And I got offers from Wisconsin, Nebraska, Maryland, Rutgers, Florida State, Auburn, Winthrop, Stanford, and other schools. And all of them got on my recruitment early, which is really cool. But I think there's other schools that haven't like offered me yet, who I still like am in very much contact with, and that would be schools like Marquette, Louisville, Butler, and other schools. But I think that probably one of the coolest offers I got was Wisconsin. Growing up an hour and a half away from Madison and being a Badger fan and going and I was at Melvin's Gordon career Wisconsin rushing game when they played Nebraska in the snow, and that was awesome. I remember going to watch Frank Kaminsky, Sam Decker, Bronson Koenig, and Nigel Hayes play Nebraska, and that was 2 hours away from my house in Kearney. So like growing up a big Wisconsin fan, and it was really cool like to be able to sit down and get that offer. I'd been going to a Wisconsin camp since 8th grade, so that was just like amazing. And then getting schools like Stanford, which is obviously one of the most highest academic schools in the country, and to like have them offer me, it was like really like cool moment to have a school like that reach out. Florida State, who just won the ACC, which is probably one of the best conferences in basketball. That was awesome. Coach Hamilton's a great guy, and it was a great school. And then there's just been so many schools who I've talked to where it's been like this is crazy, because growing up like a basketball nerd, playing NCAA 10 on my PS3 and like learning all these schools, and then like, oh, hey, like I've seen this coach, or like I know these players that he's coached and now they're in the NBA. It's like, this is really cool that they want me to go to their school and give me the opportunity to play in front of them. There's a lot that goes into it. I'd say that I've got like great options, including like probably the chance to go wherever I want, minus a couple of schools right now. So that chance will probably be, I got to go visit the schools that I think I'm going to really like. And then they have to have a nice campus, obviously a winning program, a good coach, a really like good community around them that supports them and wants them to win. Good academics, so that not only am I furthering myself in basketball, but I'm furthering myself in education. And then just overall, I feel like when I find the right place, I'll know it's the right place, because it'll sit right with me, and there's no second doubting. Like when I did my visit here, there was no second doubting it. It was just like, this is God's plan for me. So that'll be a really big factor. And I've got, luckily, a really great support staff with my family. My grandpa and my mom have already been helping me along this process, and will definitely help me when it gets to like that level where it's like, all right, time to decide. They'll be right there with me, helping me getting to that process where I find the right place. I'd definitely say college, probably because it's more entertaining and like the players are like, I'm so close to being there that it's like, oh, well, this is like how they play compared to how I play. So I'd probably say I watch college the most. I don't watch that much NBA, but if I do, it's probably the Nuggets, the Cavaliers, or the Mavericks, because they all have players who are like I like to associate my game with, which is like Jokic, Luka, Porzingis. When Kevin Love plays, Kevin Love. But it's just like it's been so much fun to like watch those guys, and like I've been watching Kevin Love's high school highlights for like 4 years now, and like seeing how similar we are. It's kind of crazy. And then Jokic, like the stuff he does, like I try and like literally, I used to sit outside in my backyard and like try and throw behind the back passes to my trash can. So it's like just things that I can do off of them. But then college basketball, I think it's so much entertaining because it's so competitive, especially in the Big Ten, the ACC, and the SEC. Like LSU might be unranked or Indiana might be unranked, and they'll go in and play like a really good school like a Florida State or an Illinois, and they'll like upset them or they'll make it a really close game. Like those conferences, it's like you never know what's going to happen, and because it's like there's so much like the chances like obviously like Duke and UNC are both unranked right now, and because that's how like big the ACC is and how competitive it is. In Wisconsin and like Illinois were like in the top 10 a couple weeks ago, and now Wisconsin might not even be ranked because like they've had to play those tough games. Where the Big Ten, it's like at one point there was I think 9 ranked teams in it. So it's just like those conferences are so competitive and so fun to watch that it makes it entertaining. I have probably 3 really big mentor figures who are really like big impacts on me, and probably number 1 would be my mom. Obviously, growing up my majority of my life with her, she taught me a lot of the things I know how to do, like basketball, off the court. She gave me my moral compass. She like taught me like how to live life and how to be good in life. So she's probably my biggest mentor and person I talk to the most every day is my mom. And she's given me everything I have, and I can be forever thankful because she took a leap of faith knowing that I love basketball and put me into camps, spent thousands of dollars trying to like get me to camps, like to get my name out, to travel around the country. She did that in 7th and 8th grade, driving me from Appleton, Wisconsin down to North Carolina to take me to CP3 Rising Stars camp. She did so much for me, taking me to MSHTV, like trying to get my name out there. And then she did it, and now she's just watching and like enjoying it. And then second, I'd say my grandpa. Not having my dad around a lot and living 30 minutes from my grandpa, he taught me a lot of the things that like a dad would teach you almost. He taught me like how to shoot a gun, how to be like survive in the forest if I needed to. He taught me how to fish, which is one of my favorite hobbies to do. He gave me books to read. He and I talked about my favorite subject in school, history, all the time. We still talk about it to this day. He's probably like one of the most influential people in my life is because he's taught me like how to do so much and how to do it all. And he and my grandma, I grew up with them when I was really little. Like I stayed at their house for weeks or months at a time. I go back there every Christmas or every Thanksgiving to go see them because like they're that influential in my life, and I spend that much time with them. And now I've grown up a little bit, and I get to play golf with my grandpa, and he still beats me to this day. But he's probably one of my bigger influences. And then I have Coach UJ, who was our strength and conditioning coach here. Although I only had him for about 6 or 7 months, it was a really impactful 6 or 7 months because he has been here for so long. He's known the system. And like, this is really like my first time away from home without my mom, without family nearby, or like the family setting, like living in a dorm. I have no brothers or sisters. So sharing my living space with somebody else, and having him get me through that, like be around me every day. And like, yeah, he'd make fun of me, but it was all in like, it was good jokes. And I really like being around him because he was so nice, and he really cared about me as a person. And he still does to this day, as he keeps in touch with me probably once or twice a week. And he talks to my mom a lot. Then another one, probably my last one, would be Coach Adam, who is my first AU coach with the Wisconsin Crusaders. He really, when I really started like focusing on basketball, he was the guy who like made it happen. because I remember I told my mom I wanted to be a professional basketball player, and she said pro basketball players get up at 5 a.m. and go work out. I was like, well, how can I do that? She's like, well, Coach Adam goes to the gym every day, and he plays in the old man league. You want to go with him? And I said, sure. So I think in 7th grade, I started waking up at like 4:50 a.m. and going to play at 5:30 at the gym. That was like 2 minutes away from my house, and my coach would pick me up, or I'd ride my bike over there, and I'd go play with 15, 6-year-old men at Alliance Church from 5:30 to 7, and then I'd lift some weights afterwards. And that was probably like one of the best things he could have done for me. That's how I learned like the feel for the game, was like playing that old man style, I guess. And then he got me into the Wisconsin Crusaders, and I played for him, and my mom was the assistant coach. So it was just awesome. And he's coaching at a high school back home now, and he's killing it there. So he's definitely one of the most too. And then last one would be Coach Richie Davis, who recently passed away. I only knew him for a short amount of time too, for about 3 years. But the time I had with Richie was really special. He did so much for me and my family in such a short amount of time. When I left Wisconsin, he still kept in touch when I was in California, because he still wanted me to come back and play for him. And then when I came back and played for him this summer, he had 17U kids that he was focusing on getting offers for. And then he took me in with them, and he got me like in touch with college coaches. He got me in touch with Under Armour. Like, he did so much for me. He got me in touch with the people here. He did so much for me in such a short amount of time. And it was really a hard loss on my family and I to lose him and have him, because he had such a big plan for me, and it ran out of time. But I'm glad that he's watching over me now. My biggest passions and hobbies outside of basketball would be like video games. I love to play NHL, like Call of Duty, MLB, like all kinds of sports games and stuff like that. And then I really like to fish. I'm a bass fisher. I really like to go out and fish as much as I can. And being in Wisconsin, so many lakes around, and you just walk outside and you can go fish. I like to be around my friends and like mess around and do stuff with them. I like to play card games. Like, I'm really good at Uno, I think. Although it's luck, I love to play Uno, games like Monopoly, stuff like that. Super competitive. Really do not like losing. I really like Star Wars and the Avengers. So I've spent a good amount of time like watching shows on that, watching the Avengers movies, watching Star Wars. It's just stuff I like to do. And then I really like to like be outside, like, just doing stuff. I really don't like to be stuck inside all day, because it sucks. There's not much to do. And when you get to be outside, when there's tons of stuff to do. And luckily here we have a pool, beach volleyball, courts, big turf to go play and like hang out on. So I'm really lucky that I get to be outside with people all day and enjoying it. And then probably my favorite hobby is getting to spend time with my dog. I love being able to go home and like be around him and play with him. Obviously with no siblings, like he kind of gets bored with my mom. So when I come home and like he's there and we have so much energy, I get to play with him, take him out, do fun stuff with him. And probably those are my main hobbies. I've always liked history, so I wanted to do something with history along those lines, but also something that ties in with history is law. So I'd love to be a lawyer someday. And that would be really easy, considering like I could do stuff with athletes already. As a young athlete, I know that field. I also like commentating. Like, I'd love to be a commentator. Like, even if I don't play, I'd love to do that. Or after I play, it's something that I've seen ex-NBA players or ex-pros do before, that I'd love to do, and love talking about it and love the game so much that I think that I'd be somewhat good at it. And I also want to be a dentist, or because that'd be fun for me. I know I've known dentists before, and their job is pretty cool and fun, and I like that little field a little bit. So probably those are 3 dream careers for me if I weren't playing basketball. 4 words that probably best describe me would be outgoing, um, kind-hearted, um, goofy, um, and I'd probably say hardworking. I'd probably say outgoing, because I'm up to do a lot of things like that are fun. Like, I'd love to. Someone asked me if I wanted to go play cricket. I'd be like, okay, I've never played cricket before, but it sounds like fun. I want to go watch stars. Like, I'd love to go do that. I say goofy because like I'm an 8-year-old in a grown man's body. I'd say I love to like do fun stuff. I still throw water balloons at my friends to this day. I play with like the hose. I go do fun stuff. I mess around. I try and like be a kid because every day I'm treated like a pro athlete. So it's like when I'm not being treated like a pro athlete, it's like, why not experience my time as a kid, like be a kid with my friends. I'd say hardworking because I want to be a pro more than anything. Like I want to get there. So if there's an opportunity to get in an extra lift or to get into the gym, I'd love to do that. Like just go there and like get in the gym, shoot shots, get a workout in, get a lift in, do whatever I can. And then my fourth one, I said outgoing, goofy, hardworking. And then what was the fourth one?
You had kind-hearted.
Kind-hearted. I love to do stuff for people who are in need, including the elderly. I remember starting when I was in like 4th or 3rd grade. There was a woman with Parkinson's who lived across the street from me and struggled to take her garbage cans out. So I remember every day on garbage day, I'd take mine out and then I'd hustle over to her side and take hers out for her. And that's something I always like to do. I like to help people who like really need help. Like if I see a homeless person, I'd love to give them $1 or $2 because it's the least I can do for them. Like being around them. When I was in 5th grade at my elementary school, I started to read to the kindergartners at my recess. I gave up my recess and I'd go and I'd read like the books, like Dr. Seuss books, like Green Eggs and Ham, Red Fish, Blue Fish, like whatever I wanted to read, like whatever they wanted to read, I'd sit down and I'd read with them. And then from there, I kind of like I moved on to middle school and I kind of stopped doing that until 8th grade when I gave up my like lunch period a little bit and started to read with 5th graders, or because I was at a new middle school. And I came back and I was like their middle school like book teacher, I guess. Like we'd read a book and then we'd analyze it. And like we'd all have stuff to do. And that was with my 5th grade teacher, who was probably my favorite teacher of all time. And I remember reading books like The Hunger Games, like other books with them that I love to read with them and spend time with them. And it's super cool to do that. So I've loved being around kids. I love helping people who I need to help. And that's probably why I'd say I'm kind-hearted. Something about myself that most people don't know is that I kind of look, I mean, like when people see me, like I might look intimidating or I might like not fit the part of a basketball player, but I'm probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Like, I want to do, like if you want to say hi to me, like I'd go out of my way to have a conversation with you or say hi to you. I think because I don't want to be like the big Hollywood guy, like who walks into a gym and it's like, oh, like that's Gus, and then like just like ignore you completely. Like I'd love to talk to you, love to like meet you and get to know you, because the way I see it is if I meet this kid now and like he grows up to be like a really successful person, like he knew me and I started to build a relationship with him, like that's a connection, and I'm building these connections with people. And like when I'm here and I meet the tennis kids, it's like you got to build a connection with like the tennis kids, the golf kids. And so I'd say that's probably something people don't know about me. Then another thing I'd say is probably I know I look smaller when I play, like because I have like bad posture, I guess, and I shrink size a little bit. But then when you meet me, like I'm a true like 6'9" like kid, so it's like I'm a little bit bigger in person than most people think. At the end of the day, like when I'm done playing basketball and my career's over and like I'm retired, I want to be known as like a player who helped change the game in the best like way he could. Obviously, I don't see myself having an impact like a Steph Curry or a Michael Jordan, but I see myself like a Jokic, kind of a big who helped change the way bigs played. A big who could defend, rebound, shoot, pass and score, dribble, do whatever he could, be that all around kind of player that everyone wants, so that I can go score if I needed to. I could make it the right play. I could set the screen for the other person to get open. I could get the offensive rebound put back. I could get the defensive rebound and push it. I want to be the guy who is the jack of all trades and can do everything that needs to be done to win. And that's probably the one thing that I had to learn here is that like I'm not the best player right now, and I need to learn how to play a role. And I learned how to play that role. And now I've had that like where I need to play and like do everything myself and be the role player. So I have everything in my bag. So I want to be remembered as a player who helped change the game. And I want to be the player who helped off the court more than anyone else. And like give back to people, be active in the community I play in, be active with the little kids and like other people who need like those people in their lives who need help. And probably I want to build a big gym back in my hometown for like kids to be able to use, because we have gyms, but there's not like that one gym where everyone goes to. It's like split up a little bit. So it's like I want to build a facility back home where like everyone went to and played.